All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball Bean Talk, episode number 14. Finally here, Ozzy. I think we're gonna get back into recording these on Thursdays. Probably makes a little more sense. And
It's better with our schedule.
of course, yeah. With the parking out here in Fullerton, it is a disaster. So it just makes more sense for us. But we're most of the same stuff. Gonna make a couple of changes throughout here. But let's just get started. Call this open discussion. No real topic, no real nothing, just start out talking about stuff. And I think if we're really gonna get into the main point of discussion, that Ja'Marr Chase situation. I'm very curious to see what you guys say about that, man.
Literally yesterday, literally in the morning, literally during class, I think it was Schefter, whoever did it. He turned down 4-year 140, which is 35 million a year. Like, dude, you're not getting paid more than CD. You're not getting paid more than Jefferson.
Well,
like, that's what I don't understand.
Because you know how these things. Okay, so are you gonna say like
you don't want more money because
but
of market and this and that?
Because if we're gonna just compare this to the quarterback market, Trevor Lawrence, guys like, does he really deserve more than even like some of the guys before him? So
the thing is, I think the quarterback market and the receiver market, they're completely different. Because at least with the receivers, it doesn't matter. You need to be good at least for receiving. Quarterbacks, the way the market's skewed, you can be however the hell you are right now. You get that amount of money. With the receivers, I feel it's a little different with the receivers, in my opinion.
Look, in some ways, yes, but I just think, comparatively to each position, you see one guy get a big value, you're gonna want yourself. And okay, with Ja'Marr, arguably he can have that case.
Yeah.
Last year, maybe his stock went down just a tiny bit, but regardless, he's still in that top 5. Quite solidified at that top 5 position. Obviously, the CD, Ayuk, those guys. I'm not saying Ayuk, but guys that got paid.
Jefferson, obviously.
And let's just say, Jefferson and CD. Those are guys
that are the top 2 highest paid right now.
And those are the guys that he was trying to compete with to see what he's gonna get. Now, obviously, he really wants to go above and beyond with this. And
after that week 1 performance, though, it's like week 1. That's a really big question. And then, I know Gonzo really locked them up, so that really put a really big difference into this whole contract situation now. And obviously, look, you're coming into week 2. You're coming against a very great Kansas City Chiefs team, understatement once again, and the defense heavily improved. And even with the departure of L'Jarius Sneed, you still got Trent McDuffie there, and then one other underrated guy there that on the Ravens game was, I know you mentioned another guy was everywhere, but another guy too.
Looking at Watson,
he was another guy to really look at with side by side with Excuse me, I keep hearing the name for Trent McDuffie. So that's another really guy to look at. Even whoever gets paired with Ja'Marr, whether it's Trent McDuffie or Watson, whether they swap up, it's gonna be a really good game on their side of the ball, locking up Ja'Marr. And I think these next couple weeks specifically, because we know how the Bengals are, specifically Joe Burrow in the first couple weeks of the season.
And that's what I was telling you. It seems to the past 3 years it's been death taxes and the Bengals starting out 0-2. So
0-2, 1-3, 2-4.
It looks like this season. Say what you want. Sure, they kind of seem to have a way to always make their way back, but looking at this, we see how strong this division is in the North. We see, it was strong last year, and obviously that didn't work out for them. So,
and it's gonna be even stronger now, even with the Steelers looking a little bit good now. Now they're gonna roll with Justin Fields. That defense is looking still spectacular as always. But again, that could be something else for differently. It all relies on Justin Fields to see if he can actually get the ball down the field, because that's one thing that offense is really gonna need to improve. Especially if George Pickens finally we saw him finally getting involved in that offense. That's really what they need, some George Pickens action. He really just the quarterback away from really leading into that top receiver conversation here. Now, we have the Ja'Marr Chase situation, and I want to get into the Deshaun Watson situation.
Okay.
Well, how bad his week 1 performance was, and let alone the recent news.
But can we, and I know what you're gonna get into, but can we really put it all on him?
No, I'm not gonna put it all on him.
I know. Atrocious O-line.
The O-line play was really, really bad, and they're going to be against a really deadly Dallas Cowboys front 7 with Marshawn Nealand, our second-round rookie. He put on a show on his debut. DeMarcus Lawrence, once again, being the anchor of that defense. Micah just don't really gotta expect Micah just being Micah. Let's be real here. Mozzie Smith looking a little okay, but still. I know where
you're getting at with Overshown and how explosive he looked in that game.
With the linebackers specifically, but he's fast, and
Kendrick
as well. I really, really love the acquisition of Kendricks there. He is really the main guy on that linebacker, the real anchor there, really helping with the young guys, specifically with Overshown. 11 tackles, 1 sack. He just really put on a show. And hey, Mike Zimmer, it looks like he's going to be having him as a quarterback spy. So that could be really big news for a lot of rushing quarterbacks, especially with their schedule with J.D. Daniels.
And I know I kind of mentioned this in the preview, but I mean, I told you, I really liked, what Mike Zimmer was going to do his defense, but I wasn't sure how the actual, performance was going to be. And, it's just week one. It looked like a weak Browns team, but just schematic wise and just everything put together, this Cowboys team does look like it's really meshing well. It does look like this defense specifically, we expected, I expect them, I think you also said, expect them to maybe take a little bit of a step back from last season's performance. Doesn't look like there's much of a step back just yet. Could see if this Saints game is going to be any more of a challenge. See how much their game really told us against.
Yeah, that game's gonna be a really good one coming into, because it's gonna say a lot. It's gonna say a lot for both teams, because look, we got the Dallas Cowboys. They beat a Browns team coming in with #1 defense from last season, but obviously the offense really didn't show out with the missing pieces in the O-line. Deshaun Watson obviously not looking up to the expectation as he was. And just his receivers just getting locked up by our secondary. But we're coming into against the Saints team who, sure, they blew out the Carolina Panthers, a really atrocious Carolina Panthers team. But this is a real sign for the Cowboys and the Saints team, really on both sides, to see if they're going to be legit this season.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, I think, if we're going to, you had your piece about your guys, I think, I definitely have my own things, about the Rams. And I think, the big thing being, we're cooked by injuries right now. I mean, we obviously, the big thing, Puka Nacua, he's gonna be gone, and like I said, if you're out there, come take my knee. I'm, you can take it off my hands. I'm not really using it that much, but then the O-line, and that's really my biggest concern. And this week against Arizona, it's a great Arizona team. Up,
I mean, their offensive, the way you guys are shifting your O-line,
their offensive side of the ball. I honestly think we can take Kyler. The only thing, and I'm not too scared of the Cardinals defense, but they're no one to take lightly, so we'll wait and see. But still, this game's gonna tell us a lot, just because we see that O-line play in general. I mean, Avila's on IR, Joe Noteboom, our backup's on IR, and I don't know if Havenstein's gonna be back. I'm not expecting him to just yet. And I see right now AJ Akiri is the main guy that we're putting in that right guard position, and he was absolutely atrocious.
Puka's gonna miss a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's on IR,
so that's already established.
But I mean, my point being right now, just the O-line. I mean, we picked up Neshke and a former Cowboy.
I know which one you told me.
Yeah, it's not on me right now, but yeah, we made some acquisitions. Big story for me. We picked up Ahkello Witherspoon. He's back, and I was advocating for months that we really needed him back, and I'm really happy with this move, because
I mean, he knows the system in and out,
and that's what I'm trying to get. We're out. Our big acquisition that just came back to the Rams, he's eluding me right now. Darius Williams, he's obviously going to be out for a couple weeks, I think, still. So with him out, bringing in someone that knows this offense and knows this defense really is really huge for this team. And it's going to take him a while, but to me the good thing is maybe he can. Because apart from Harrison and I guess maybe Rondell Moore, I'm not too worried about the.
I mean, you're forgetting Michael Wilson too. I mean, he's kind of been having a little.
What factor did he really have against the Bills? And
no, I know, yeah, but that's another guy. Sure, maybe his time with the Bill against the Bills really didn't show up, but that's still really another guy to really look out for, Michael Wilson. I mean, I really beat them in college. He's still a pretty good receiver to really go out against. And I think that's one guy. I think the Rams shouldn't even look over, even if looking at Marvin Harrison.
And I would say look over, and honestly, I'm expecting Marvin Harrison to be, more utilized in this game.
I hope he gets more utilized. I mean, look, Kyler's 5A. I mean, let's cut this slack. But like, other than that, I know Harrison got open a couple.
I mean, we hear the things that he said it's not on him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I guess offensive coordinator, the schemes in general. I guess they didn't want to scheme around their generational talent.
Yeah. But after that week 1 game, I would expect MHJ to hopefully get a little more involved in the offense by far, especially even with your secondary against the Lions game, you guys held your own against that.
Yeah, and that's
specifically against Amon-Ra. J-Mo just decided to have a generational game.
And then the big part of J-Mo's game was that long touchdown that Trey White got cooked, and even with a penalty, and but as much as I've said things about Trey White right now, he actually played a good game, apart from that one, crucial mistake. But
I would expect him to be lined up on Harrison Jr.
I would probably expect him, maybe Rondell Moore, because I could also expect Kobe Durant to be in that. So we'll see. I mean, there's no real one in this cornerback room. It would have been Williams, possibly would have even been Kendrick if he didn't get hurt. But I mean, I would expect some containment, and especially the Bills. I'm not huge on their secondary, but I think
Especially coming
it's
into
definitely a big step over.
Yeah, speaking of the Bills, the Thursday nighter too. There's a little bit into that too against this Dolphins team. You know, they're really gonna miss out really big key piece in the secondary to Teron Johnson at the cornerback spot. Look, spoiler already. I have the Bills. He's got the Dolphins, so already a mismatch for the week here. But I think that's going to be a little better for Tyreek there. It's for Tua to get more action of the balls. I already know. You already told me this morning. A-Chain's going to be limited with an injury. Was it high ankle sprain or MCL?
Yeah, break the information out right now. Not high ankle. I think just an ankle sprain.
So an ankle, okay.
So he's going to take some reps pregame.
So see if he's fantasy regardless.
Raheem Morris is already out.
No, Raheem Morris, he was already out a couple days ago. They already announced he's out with an injury. I don't know exactly how long that injury is going to take. Maybe they already confirmed it, but A-Chain is going to be limited. And today, during the warm-up sessions at the practice before the game, 2 hours before the game, they're going to see how he's feeling with that injury, and they're going to decide whether he's going to be limited or he's going to get some good snaps. If he's going to be limited, expect him, whoever has it on fantasy or parlays, we'll get into that in a bit, expect him to get some carries in the red zone inside the 5 most likely.
You would definitely hope because
I would definitely hope so.
I mean, if it doesn't, you're kind of cooked. I mean,
I'm cooked regardless.
Who else do you have at running back? It's not
Swift, but I switched him out for Dobbins, so I switched him out for JK. So at least, hopefully,
yeah. Well, I mean, especially seeing him go against that Carolina defense.
Yes, exactly.
Well, okay, you should be fine with JK. But we'll see.
We'll see with A-Chain.
Probably monitor that situation.
If not, then I'm about to put Swift back into the lineup. But
A-Chain
doesn't really matter here. But another thing too with that Bills team is Josh Allen, and let's be real here. He really put the batteries on against the Cardinals team in the second half. He really led that team there. And look, when Josh Allen gets deadly in the run game with himself, expect him to even be deadly in the pass game too. Especially, look, I'm really hoping Keon Coleman has a really good game against this Dolphins team, against the second, because like this Dolphins secondary, sure, you still have Ramsey there, who's the anchor, but the secondary still has a little bit.
Here's one thing that I think about Coleman. Like, I didn't want to believe this. I see, these, couch experts talking about all the time.
No, yeah.
But I hear, Sean McDermott doesn't use his rookie receivers too much early on in the season. Yeah. And I wanted to ignore it week 1. I really had a lot of hope for Coleman. We're both pretty big on him. We saw it play out week 1.
We did.
So I'm not expecting Coleman to have too much production going into this game. And I mean, just gonna throw this out now. We're talking about this game so much. You want to just break in our new segment?
Yeah. So this new thing, we're not 19 yet, so we can't bet.
So, yeah, we'll put it on. Big disclaimer. Let's not take this. We are not experts.
Us too. Do not listen to us.
Specifically
me. Do not listen to me. Right? Even though I had a practice parlay for the Monday.
I went 3 for 5.
I went 3 for 5, so I would have won a decent amount of money. So at least that hit, but. We just decided to do some practice parlays, prototype parlays, I should call it here.
So since you kind of the one that's been more into it recently, I'll let you get yours.
I got a 5-leg parlay going up. So I think my first one was
6.
No, excuse me, 6. Thank you. I have it up right here. So I guess the first one, I'm just gonna run these through, not really gonna go too in depth into this, but
yeah, we'll just throw it on the screen.
First one, I'm gonna go player by player. So I got 2 parlays for Josh Allen. I got him going over on 39. So this is price picks too, for just to make sure, so we know the stats aren't skewed for anyone watching. I got Josh Allen going over 35.9 rush yards. We already know Josh Allen, he's deadly losing his yak, so you're gonna expect him to get a decent amount on the run game. And then I'm going over 0.5 rush TDs. So at least I spent run rush TD. He's been at least hitting that once a week since last season, and even multiple as well. So that's 2 for Josh. And then I got 1 for Tua. I'm gonna go less, 268.5 passing yards. Sure, that Bill's secondary is a little chopped, especially with what I talked about with Teron Johnson, with his departure here.
About it in general. I mean, this is something we talked about in the regular season, off season overall, but they lost a lot of key pieces.
They did. But seeing that Cardinals game, they did manage to hold their own towards the second half, so at least that's a bright sign. If they're gonna be like that the whole game and not
starting how they do against these Dolphins weapons.
Exactly, right? And then I got Tyreek here. I got him going over 109.5 receiving yards. I think that's I think I pretty much already mentioned it. Bill's secondary is gonna have a little issue right then and there, so I'm gonna get him go the over. Then I got James Cook going 59.5 over. I'm gonna hit the more on that, so I'm gonna expect to get a little action right then and there. And then, like we were just talking about Keon Coleman, I know, like you mentioned, McDermott doesn't really utilize his rookies, but I'm gonna have him going at least over 3.5
That
receptions.
is where your parlay comes.
That is probably where my price is gonna be a little bit skewed. But hey, he got 4 receptions last game. Now I'm obviously praying he still gets.
I mean, I'm probably expecting Shakir to get more of that.
Yeah, I'm not expecting Town to have like I'm hoping, but like you said, we're not gonna expect to have a huge game, but at least really expect at least 4 receptions to at least get the parlay going. So that's my 6 leg. 4 of the 6 have to hit to at least win some profit. So that's gonna be my parlay for the week.
So yours
Thursday.
yours was 20 to win 300, right?
It was $20 to win $300.
Okay.
To win 300. So this is honestly pretty simple parlay.
Yeah.
It could be a little skewed because of Coleman, but
Yeah. So I mean, we'll go to mine, and I just like you, I got 2 for Josh Allen, right?
yeah.
Yes, I got 2 for Josh Allen as well. I think we got the same ones. I got the over on rushing / receiving touchdown. He's not gonna get a receiving touchdown, obviously. He'll get into the end zone with his legs, just like what you were already talking about. I got him going over his yards at 246.5. I mean, my mistake. I got him going less.
Yeah.
246.5, as you said. I'm going with the Dolphins, so I'm expecting that defense to hold him in check. Same with James Cook. I'm expecting him to go under 61.5 rushing yards. Wasn't really much of a factor last week, and I expect that to continue here against pretty solid Dolphins run defense.
Over 59, you got him going less than 61. So let's see if he hits 60.
If he hits 60, we both win, right? I'll go into the Dolphins. Tua, I got over 4.5 rushing yards. You would definitely expect. I think I don't know if you had that one as well.
I didn't.
Okay, yeah, and I had this one first, and you copycatted your way into mine. My demon pick, Tyreek Hill, going into 109.5.
100,000 other people aren't gonna pick that.
But I picked it first.
That doesn't matter.
I picked it first between the two of us.
I'm sorry. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, but mine was just a 5 leg. I believe it was $20 to win 240. So
how much?
20 for 240. So yeah, I mean, you had your extra pick that obviously more risk, more reward. So, and as of right now, kind of a little congested in all the picks we made, but into the next couple weeks when we make these, we're gonna he takes one team, I'll take one team, and from there on we'll.
So like, what's the next Thursday night? I already lost.
Don't remember.
We're playing. I got one team. He gets one team, and we're just gonna literally just make a parlay for that. I'm obviously gonna make another separate parlay aside from the channel for both teams, just for shits and giggles. But yeah, that's
and like what I told you, maybe we could start throwing out some random NFL TikToker content, making our own little parlays from there. But
on everybody's soul but mine, Dak Prescott over 300 pass yards against the Saints.
Okay, yeah, but okay, Matthew Stafford over. I mean, what did he have? Like 256 against this? Against that Cardinals.
Matthew secondary slinger, so I would expect that one to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess we kind of went out of order, but today we close it out with your guys' takes and questions. So I'll start out. Obviously, the regular in these videos, Harbs, and I mean, definitely had your own unique. You definitely give us.
He gives us some rambunctious ass questions.
Yeah, so I mean, you gave us a 2 for 1 here. How should the Giants handle the Daniel Jones situation? I mean, what can you really
do? I mean, they decided.
Are you gonna start Drew Lock and that?
Yeah, that's gonna be.
You're gonna bench the guy you're paying $40 million.
Exactly, because look, the Giants. Because it was a different GM that gave the
Mar, the owner. Yeah.
It was a different GM, right? If I'm just someone can fact check me on that, but it was. Okay, so it was a different GM that gave Daniel Jones that contract. Now the GM has to deal with the contract specifically because benching him, you're letting $40 million a year just.
But when we think about how that went, I mean, he defended the contract and he was the one defending. Okay, we're paying him $40 million. We can't prioritize Saquon. Yes. Well, look where that's leaving.
And look, Saquon's already. Who knew all it took was Saquon to be in at least a decent system, a step up against the Giants to have a decent.
That's why my OPOY.
Week 1, but it's Philly. We know how their offensive system is. We know how Kellen Moore draws up plays. He was drawing up plays pretty well in that game. But
I didn't talk about this much, but that game kind of went precisely as I said. They're not going to be as reliant on the tush push, and they let Saquon get some of those red zone touches.
That's what they didn't let Swift do last season, and he missed on
that's why he left.
Exactly, that's why he didn't want to be there. And obviously, the game against Chicago didn't really do it, but still praying for Swift to get his little redemption on the game here. But really, they're gonna ride with Daniel Jones this whole season, unless Stable decides, you're benched. But I really doubt that's gonna.
I mean, that would probably be the smart thing to do, but it's just how do you do that?
Is it the best decision to do for the Giants coming forward? Maybe,
because we could say that same thing about the Browns.
Yeah, but in this Giants situation, sure, look, They made the playoffs 2 years ago. They won against that Vikings
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, did I not say 2
Yeah,
years?
no, yeah, you did.
Oh,
I'm just saying it was 2 years
fault.
ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago against a Vikings team who, was always in close games. I'm not even going to go into that. We already mentioned that during that time, and we know how it went. But
Yeah, we saw how
Jones had a pretty
badly they got cooked by the Eagles next week. So
Jones didn't even have a season,
and that's
he didn't have a good season.
And that's what I was telling you.
All right, season. It was a serviceable season.
No, it was a serviceable season, and that's the thing. Like, okay, if that season was enough to tell you, like, maybe that's one thing. But once you see the performance in the playoffs against the Eagles, that should have been enough to say, like, okay, you had a good year, you got a playoff win. But how shitty you did in this second playoff game, that's enough to tell us, like, okay, you might be our guy, but let's ride this out a little more, and like let's actually have you prove.
And last season, look, if they didn't sign him, last season would have said enough. Daniel Jones would probably be off the Giants right now.
No, he'd probably be here this year with a lot less leeway. And and it would probably be Drew Lock's team by like week 5.
And that's not really the issue. You're going from trash to like golden trash. What's really different right there with Drew Lock there? But at least for the Giants, maybe a little overthrown that, but yeah, the Giants,
it's just a tough situation.
It's a really tough situation looking at this team in general. I mean, sure, this could be an example of Giants a quarterback away from being good, but are they really?
No, wait, not really, because I mean that wide receiver core doesn't really intrigue me. I mean, apart from Neighbors.
Apart from Neighbors, Hyatt being there, Wan'Dale Robinson probably going to be the main guy. Not really there. But yeah,
I mean, sure, they have Brian Burns on defense, but that's about it because he's okay. And then you could say
Thibodeau, but he's having his.
Of course, Dexter Lawrence. So it's Dexter Lawrence and
Burns. That's really it for that.
Thibodeau's been a bum.
Team, but yeah, Thibodeau's being Thibodeau.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll let you, and obviously the second part of your question, are the Cowboys legit this year?
Carps is setting me up for this one, thinking I'm gonna glaze, and no, I am not. So it is week 1. We're not even gonna go into this.
Okay.
It is week 1. Okay. This can be said for a lot of teams. They can be saying like, are the Steelers legit? Are the Saints legit? Are the Bears legit? This can go for a lot of other teams in this league right now that got a week 1 win. So no, I'm gonna hold that off until like week 13 to see how this Cowboys team is doing. Obviously, not gonna gas them up too early. I want to wait till the Saints game to see how they do. Obviously, against
and that's why
should not be overlooked.
That was my thing to tell you. Like, I usually like to wait until like week 3.
That's what I'm saying.
That tells you like a little more about each team. Like, you've played more of the competition. You see who's played who. You kind of see, it snakes its way down. Where the hierarchy lands. So. Yeah, I mean, let's calm down. I mean, hey, are the Packers terrible because they lost week 1? I mean,
exactly. I can actually go into that, but we won't because that's not a question.
And we'll wait, and we'll get into those type of questions around mid-season.
We'll see in a couple weeks from now to see how Malik Willis does, since he is going to be the leader in that team.
But I mean, yeah, one more, and someone new, someone that obviously a long-time supporter here. Daniel, obviously. So. Obviously, big Steeler fan, and you're asking, or your hot take, TJ Watt should have 4 DPOYs. And
thing is, I don't consider it a hot take.
Well, I would say yes, because I actually looked into this a little bit this morning. Yeah. So obviously, last year should have been 2.
Last year, without a doubt, yeah.
And should have won. I want to say it was 2021, and I know you're gonna agree on this one. At least you're gonna say he should have been it. I look at 2021. That's when Aaron Donald won.
There you go, yeah.
And I was looking at the stats, and you know what? They're very comparable. TJ Watt does pass him on a couple. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, TJ Watt really led every stat since he's entered the league. Literally, almost every stat since he's entered. I think Aaron just got it just so.
No, I'm not gonna say it's biased. I'm just saying, he's that game wrecker, and why he doesn't get most stats, because he's triple teamed half the time. So. I mean, I don't want to just factor that in. I know I'm a Rams fan. I don't want to just overshow my bias, but I think the type of guy that Aaron was in that 21 year definitely has definitely shows that I think he's worthy. But I will say that TJ Watt had a case in 21. The honestly, other one,
4 would I would say 4 would be a stretch. I would say 3.
No, because I think
I'd say
I want to.
TJ should have at least.
I want to say Lemus is arguing 19 or 18 that he had another year that he was a finalist, but I mean that's an absolute stretch, so I think when Gilmore won.
Gilmore was the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Gilmore won, and I
wasn't that not when
I want to say Cardinals Chandler Jones
wasn't that when you guys went to the Super Bowl? When
and then
Gilmore won,
and he picked.
That was 2018. That was 2018. So yeah,
he got the game sealing pick in that one. Yeah, so but in that season, Arizona Cardinals Chandler Jones had better stats than TJ. So you know, I think you're making it a stretch to say 4, but
I'd say 3.
You could definitely.
I'm gonna say 3. 4.
You can make
four. I would say stretch because like I honestly think of it.
Gilly had a phenomenal year that year.
For a quarterback having a year like that, I don't think you can really argue that. For
and the reason I say even that is like, okay, take out Gilly's year, it would have been Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really say.
Yeah. So I mean, look, he already has one under his belt.
He should for sure have 2.
Last year should have won without it. So he would guarantee 2. The 21 season over Donald. Sure, I mean the numbers he put up as a D tackle, right? Look at it that way, right? But maybe that year you could have a debate where maybe he could have.
It's an open debate.
It's open debate. So at least for me, Lima's 4. Could be stretching it a bit, but for sure 3.
You can have an argument for 3.
There's an argument.
He should 100% have 2.
Yeah, 4 is a stretch. There's an argument there, but it's gonna be a really balls deep argument. 3 is a very debatable one you can have, but it's more doable. But without a doubt, he should have 2 under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And that obviously, you know, that wraps up our viewers' takes. I think that overall wraps us up in general for this. I mean, you know, thank you guys for watching. Definitely,
we'll keep posted on everything, specifically the parlays.
Oh, we'll definitely, we'll. I mean, if we don't do something yet, you know, we'll definitely open up our week 2 recap with that, and obviously, beat myself. But you know, thank you guys for watching. Hope you like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate, you know, all the support that we do get, and we'll see you guys right back on our week 2 recap.